Welcome to the VirtualWorlds.Museum, where visitors can learn about the history, evolution, and trajectory of immersive platforms. Join SEHU and Kenzo as they teleport to virtual realms, speak to world builders, and catalogue each platform for posterity. Their mission is to document the technologies, cultures, and artistic expressions that define the vast ecosystem of virtual worlds. Our journey begins now.
Teleportal to the Ivory Tower Library of Primitives successful in Kenzo.
We're here with Bar-Zeev to learn about prims and the early years of Second Life. Welcome to the Spotlight video series, Avi. Can you please tell us more about your time at Second Life and how you've seen searchability evolve in virtual worlds?
Hi, thanks for having me. I joined Second Life, the company Linden Labs, as a consultant in 2001, right after I finished working on Keyhole that became Google Earth. So I had a big interest in virtual worlds and really large ones, and got along really well with Philip and Corey and the gang. And worked on a bunch of things for them at first before Primitives, but the most important one was just rewriting the rendering engine, because the original rendering engine was only getting 5 frames per second. That was not usable. So we at least got it up to 30 with a bunch of changes. And the Primitives came because Philip came and said, here, I've got a list of 15 to 20 different primitives to write. Can you go do that? And I was like, sure, but I don't need to write 15 or 20 different ones. These are actually all the same code-wise. So give me 2 weeks, I'll come back and I'll show you. And I knew that because I had studied computational geometry in college and understood the theory of the whole thing. So I came back with a little bit of code, about 200 lines of code that could create all the different primitives that originally you could see, not including the terrain and the avatars. So it included spheres and cylinders and cubes and donuts, and all the different shapes are effectively the same code. And then he wanted little controls, like he wanted a twist and a taper, and those were pretty easy to add. So it was just one little bit of code, but we had to really write a very, very custom rendering engine to be able to render all these, because most game engines they deal with static geometry. They deal with assets that some artist writes, and it tries to load them and render them efficiently. And here you have millions and millions of tiny little Lego pieces that come in randomly from the server. And it is a really, really big challenge to write a rendering engine that can handle all that. So we spent a lot of time on that and trying to optimize it. And then we spent a lot of time on the lighting, because it doesn't look good unless you get the shading correct. We wrote a whole bunch of, this was before GPUs had any programmability, so we had to write a bunch of, similar to ray tracing, to go figure out the color of each vertex, and be able to light the world so you could have thousands of lights and things like that. So we spent a lot of time on that, optimizing the avatars as well. And it was a lot of fun to work on back in 2001, because there was almost nothing like it. It was the first world that had been built this way. Everything else had been built in a very traditional game engine kind of way.
It's amazing to see how all of these worlds are built off of just a handful of prims. How many original shapes were in your prim library?
I mean, it's almost infinite with all the variations you could make, but in terms of core shapes, it was about 15.
I'm curious, how have you seen searchability evolve across virtual worlds over the last 20 years?
One of the stories, I guess, from Second Life that's probably relevant and interesting, just within Second Life searchability, is that the original dogma was it's physically based, so you can't fly. There was no flying originally. There were no teleporting portals originally, and search didn't really matter because you couldn't jump anywhere. So it was really just go explore the world on foot, or maybe if vehicles were supported, we could build a vehicle. And then really it's the users that demanded the extra features. Users wanted to fly because it just took too long to get anywhere by walking. And then eventually you had to have portals as well so you could teleport. And that's really hard to do with this architecture. The architecture is intended to slowly trickle stream the world as you move around, so get all the pieces that you need next. And every time you teleport, as you can see, if you use it, Second Life, it takes a few seconds to minutes for everything to come in, because it wasn't designed that way. But everybody wanted teleporting, and so now there's a search interface where you can find the names of places. It's all, in retrospect, clear that people would have wanted that, but it wasn't really architected in order to support that. And as far as the wider web goes, we still need to get to a point where we have some kind of equivalent of DNS and some layout for all the worlds. But we do need a way of getting around, of moving between them. And I think portals is probably the best answer. Now, the ultimate version of portals are going to be more like doorways, I think, where you don't have to wait for the world to load, but you just see a doorway open and you just get to walk through it. That should be the nicest, simplest way to do it ultimately. But we need a lot of work before that becomes mainstream.
Thank you, Avi.
Second Life has been recorded for the VirtualWorlds.Museum, VR and Apps exhibit.
Thank you, SEHU. That's today's tour of Second Life. Join us next time as we explore virtual worlds. Stay curious, and we'll see you in the next adventure.
Teleporting to their digital home. Virtual worlds unite, exploring dream realms. SEHU and Kenzo cataloging the scene. Digital landscapes convene visions. Virtual worlds unite.